Good morning, everyone. I'm Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and we are back for another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is an upcoming change that relates to Department of Labor and how it classifies our job zones. So job zones are super important. Currently, there are 5 job zones. Department of Labor is consolidating those down to 4. Why does that make a difference, you're asking me? Well, let me tell you. It makes a difference because the job zones are how Department of Labor tells us how much education experience and on-the-job training is required for a position. So the job zones then tie into whether or not requirements that we put on green card applications via the PERM process are considered normal or not. So if we are going above and beyond what Department of Labor considers normal, then we need to tell them why, because they are going to expect us essentially to really explain that. It also will potentially impact the prevailing wage. If there are, depending on how they do this, depending on what it ultimately looks like, if there are fewer job zones, that means that they're going to have to sort of monkey around with the experience and the education and the job training. But I suspect that will ultimately increase, sort of work to increase the prevailing wages for these positions. So they're supposed to be uploaded into the flag system in July of this year, so in a couple of months. Until such time as that happens, we will still be using the same 5 job zones. If they don't get them uploaded by July, we'll continue to use what we're currently using, which are the 5 job zones. But once they get uploaded, we'll have a certainly be able to see sort of a better take on what they've done, especially with certain positions, whether or not it really does sort of push the wage up, the prevailing wage, that is. So we'll see. But I wanted to let you guys know that because you may not, I don't think you've ever really heard me talk about job zones. But those are job zones. That's how we use them. They're super important when it comes to the PERM application, which for many folks is the first application that we work on when working toward a green card application for someone in an employment context. The next thing I want to talk about are, I'm still getting questions about whether or not individuals who are undocumented or have criminal backgrounds are okay to fly, specifically fly domestically. I've had a lot of domestic travel questions recently. Reuters just came out with something that said that ICE has arrested more than 800 people after receiving tips from the U.S. Airport Security Agency. So what I have been telling people, I'm not particularly changing my advice yet, but what I've been telling people is to stop thinking that it's okay to travel domestically just because you're going to be in the domestic portions of an airport. CBP and ICE can absolutely be in the domestic terminals. You can get picked up at the airport. You can be placed into deportation proceedings based on being picked up at an airport. So if you are undocumented or if you have any sort of criminal background, whether it be inside the U.S. or outside of the U.S., anywhere in the world, if you have a criminal background, and you are concerned about being picked up by ICE and then being put into deportation proceedings, one place you want to avoid is the airport. The CBP and ICE are, and DHS officers, they are at the airport. They are not limited to only being in the international terminals. I've had several people ask me that. They are not limited to being only in the international terminals. They can absolutely walk through and be in domestic terminals. So just keep that in mind. I've had that conversation quite a bit recently. I suspect because of spring break and sort of family-based travels, and people are now starting to plan their summer travels. So just keep that in mind. The next thing I want to talk to you all about, I've also been getting questions on this quite a bit recently as well, is Department of State through the consulates still looking at social media profiles? And the answer is absolutely. But I want to kind of flesh this answer out a little bit more. They are asking for your social media handles to be written or typed rather on your visa application form so that they have them. They're asking you to unlock your social media profiles if they are currently locked. And really, sort of more importantly, they've always been able to look at publicly available information. So if your social media pages were previously unlocked, right, then they could absolutely look at them, and sometimes they were, right? But now they are affirmatively asking for those handles and affirmatively asking you to unlock them. So if you are, applying for a visa through the Department of State and they're asking for your social media handles, understand that you are absolutely free to live your life on social media however you please, and you are free to say whatever you would like. But understand that there may be consequences to living your life on social media and saying what you want to say on social media. And one of those consequences could be a denied visa. So just understand that there are potential consequences to how you choose to show up on social media. And the last thing I want to talk to y'all about this morning is it shouldn't be a surprise. It's H-1B. I always talk about H-1B during H-1B cap season. So the cap is closed for the moment. The lottery has been run. And I say it's closed for the moment because we don't know if they're going to need to run a second round of the lottery. It's far too early for them to tell. USCIS believes that they have chosen enough folks in the initial running of the lottery to meet those caps. They won't know until roughly after June 30th, which is when the first round of applications are due. If you were chosen in the cap, usually what happens is they wait till a little bit after June 30th. They start counting to see if they think they have enough applications in the current pipeline, accounting for the fact that some applications will get denied, some applications will never even, some folks who get selected will never even file. They've already moved on to a plan B or plan C or plan D. So they go through and they, make sure that they basically do a count. They take several things into consideration when they're doing that count. So we won't know if they need to run the lottery a second time until shortly after June 30th. But if you have not, for some reason, and I don't know what that reason would be, but if you have not, for some reason, logged into your My USCIS account to check your H-1B lottery registration, please do so. If it has changed from submitted and it is now saying selected, that means that you were in fact selected and chosen in this year's H-1B lottery, and you should now be preparing your H-1B application. So if you have any questions about your H-1B application, your social media profile, your perm applications, your green card applications, feel free to reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a message. We're happy to help you. That's all I have for y'all today. Have a wonderful Monday.